G'day St John's, Kirk here with an update on our return to in-person services. Now, things can change quickly in this area, so letting you know we're recording this on Wednesday the 6th of January. Hopefully these plans will remain in place, but as we know with the coronavirus, it can sometimes be a day-to-day proposition, so please bear that in mind. Now, we're treating January as a learning time, bit of a pre-season period before we hit the season proper in February. So it is a week-by-week proposition, and I'm going to let you know in this video about our first week, which will be January 17. That's going to be our first in-person Sunday worship services. Now, due to the recent outbreak of coronavirus cases in Victoria, a few people have been letting us know that they're feeling a bit nervous about returning to church services in the building. And that's totally fair enough. We totally get it if you're feeling that way as well. Maybe a few weeks ago you were feeling pretty good, pretty eager, but now that we've got cases again spreading throughout Melbourne and throughout the state, it would be fair enough if you're feeling maybe just a little bit more cautious than you were. So we wanted to let you know and be really clear about this, that our digital services are continuing. We have no plans to slow them down at all. They're going to continue possibly forever. So we're not going to slack off on them. We're not going to scale them back. In fact, we're planning to not only continue our digital services, but to improve them as the year goes on. So on January 17, we will be premiering digital services at the same time as there are in-person services in the building at Diamond Creek. So if you watch one of those services at the live premiere times, then you can be sure that you're worshipping at the same time as people are worshipping in the building in person. It's not just going to be a camera on the back of the wall, filming the live service. It'll be designed for digital viewing on YouTube, as we've been doing all through 2020. But of course, if you are keen to attend the in-person service, or that's something you're open to doing, we want to assure you that we're taking the COVID-safe guidelines of both the government and our diocese. The diocese is the governing body of the Anglican Church in Melbourne. We're taking those guidelines very seriously. This week we've got a couple of working bees, making sure we've got the building up to spec, really ready for the return to in-person services. And we're doing training for both staff and volunteers so that we find that we're really ready to go on January 17. To the point where it might feel like if you come along on January 17, that maybe we're even going a little bit overboard with how seriously we're taking it. But that's okay. We want to do a better job than we need to rather than not do a good enough job. Our priority whenever we gather together is, of course, to worship Jesus. That's always going to be our number one priority. And of course, on January 17, we're going to have a big focus on making sure that that gathering is not a super spreading event for the coronavirus. And the thing is, we don't believe that those two priorities are competing priorities. We absolutely believe that we can do both of those things and that they can complement each other. And yeah, it will mean that if you did attend our church and our worship gatherings before the pandemic, that it will be a bit different. So for example, at the time of recording, the requirement will be that if you're an adult, you'll need to wear a mask from the time you arrive until the time we leave the building. And so that's going to be different. But we firmly believe that we can still worship Jesus with a mask on. I've done it. I was wearing a mask when we were recording the digital services here in the building, and I can absolutely tell you that we can worship Jesus while we've got a mask on. It is different, but we're still absolutely capable of doing it. So let's get practical. What do you need to know? Well, on January 17, there will be 2 services at our Diamond Creek location. One will be at 10 a.m. and one will be at 5 p.m. Now, these are not the same time slots as we had in 2019 or in early 2020. And you might go, oh, well, why not? Why aren't we sticking with some of those old time slots? Well, these are not the return to the old 2019 congregations. These are new services and they're combined services. We used to have 4 congregations that met, and they're not a return to any of those congregations. These are brand new service times for a brand new situation that we find ourselves in. And they're just for January 17. We're not setting up new congregations that are going long term at this stage. We're taking it a week at a time. So having new times does make sense, and there is practicalities to it as well. The services will be pretty much identical, same preaching, same songs, same Bible reading, prayers, all that sort of thing. So much like we've had with our digital services, which were very much the same as well. And they'll be intergenerational as well, so focused on all ages, just like our digital were as well. These time slots also allow us to be well prepared for COVID-safe guidelines, as well as doing cleaning and so on. So that's going to be useful. And they also really help with handling the capacity restrictions that we now have. It used to be that we could fit 300 people in our auditorium, but we're now capped at 176. And we're even concerned that with the current outbreak, that there's a very real possibility that the government might reduce that capacity by half down to 88. So we are considering that as a very real possibility between when I'm recording this and January 17. And so what that means is that if everyone who used to come to one of our 3 morning services all came, there's no way we could fit in the 176 capacity. And so what we need is for many people who maybe used to attend a morning service to very seriously consider coming at 5 p.m. instead. Now, obviously, some of you would have used to come at the 6 p.m. service. That's not a big change. But what we're really asking is, if you're able to attend at 5 p.m, please do. That's going to help us to spread the numbers across the day and fit in the, in the capacity restrictions. We've moved 5 p.m. a little bit earlier. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more accessible to families with young children, as well as for those from older generations. Now remember, this is just for January 17, but if you can go at 5 p.m. on January 17, we would love for you to please attend at that time. Now, registration is essential. Do not just turn up on the day. That is not a good idea. Registering online is really important. So on Monday, January 11 at 10 a.m, we will open both the 10 a.m. and the 5 p.m. services online, registration for those online to half capacity. So you'll be able to, if you get in at 10 a.m, get in fast, then you'll be able to reserve your spot for one of those services. If you're not able to get in that first round, if that fills up quickly, then you'll be able to put yourself on a waiting list. And on Thursday at 10 a.m, we will then open up to, assuming that the government regulations still allow us to go to 176 capacity, on Thursday we'll open up to that second round. Everyone on the waiting list will get their spot, and plus hopefully there'll be room for more people to register. We don't recommend registering at the last moment. We'll need to close registrations a couple of hours before the service starts. So don't sort of, wake up and go, oh, half an hour till church starts, I'll register now. That's not useful for us. We need to register earlier than that so that we can get our COVID-safe things in place. The way to do that is to go to stjohnsdc.org.au. There'll be a big old button there that you can click to register. Also, we'll link to it in the description of this video. If you're having any problems, please do call the church office and we'll see if we can help you out. When you go to that link, there'll be some information there on COVID-safe stuff, things that you need to be aware of. So we'd love you to read that, and that'll hopefully answer some questions. And if you've got further questions, please do give the office a call or send us an email. So it's a long update, but we wanted to be thorough to give you the information you need as we head back to meeting in person. It is different. We've got these unique circumstances that our world's in at the moment, but we're really looking forward to it, and we're really looking forward to this opportunity that we haven't had for a long time to gather together and to worship Jesus in the building in a way that we haven't been able to for almost a year. So looking forward to seeing you on January 17 or in the weeks that follow, and we'll give you an update on what's to come January 24 and following. Bye for now.